my mother will be very proud because I'm the bravest speaker here. A room full of women, and here I am talking to you about soft power. But as I stand here in a historic place, the birthplace of India's information technology, this is the campus that set fire to India's information technology revolution. But as I think about this word, let me try and understand what it truly means. What is this word information? What does information mean? Information could mean, as most people think, to inform you. If I inform you about someone you're dating, you may decide to marry him or her or not, right? It gives you information. First, check out about the mother-in-law before you marry a guy. I'm telling you, that's a little word of advice. Okay, get information. But that's only one form of the word. There is another meaning that's not understood, not used, and a more powerful and potent meaning of the word information. It is to be in formation. To be in formation means to take different elements that don't get along, put them together in a formation that is beautiful. And that, for me, my friends, is the soft power of information technology, where you can take different elements and make a story from these elements. Now, can you guess what is the oldest form of information technology? All IT professionals here? The oldest form is called the story. And we storytellers take elements from different parts, from emotions, from fiction, from facts, and we put it together to create an impossible reality, a story. And you know what that story does? It connects people. So the story tells you, it's the oldest form of information technology, and why it's powerful is it's not about representing the truth. It's not telling you about the mother-in-law. It's in fact telling you about what you can be, what can happen. It is a creative act. It is the act of creating the future. It connects people. So when I was 7 years old, my dad, while passing me curd rice, he says, "Raghava, who are you?" I said, "Pa, what a silly question. I am Raghava. I am Raghava." And then he's like, "Well, I named you. If I change your name, will you change?" I said, "No." "Who are you?" I said, "Okay, I am this person, this body, this man in front of you." He said, "Well, every 7 years, every cell in that person changes. So who are you?" I said, "My God, just pass me the food. Why all these existential questions in every dinner?" Then he says, I said, "Pa, I am my thoughts. I'm a thinker." He said, "But those thoughts keep changing. So every time you change your thoughts, should I change your name?" I said, "No." "Who are you?" "I am my feelings." But he said, "Oh, you're your feelings, your anger. You're only anger. So every time you get angry, that's who you are. When you're sad, you're not Raghava." I said, No. I am more than that." We went on and on and on that day, and we came to one conclusion. We realized that we are storytellers. And he said something that changed my life. He said, "If we are storytellers, can you tell the world's best story? Can you live the best story that you can tell?" And that became a motto to my life. I wanted to live my life in the most exquisite way, in the best story I could tell. After all, I come from the world's best storytelling tradition. India is a beautiful storytelling tradition. Do you know that there's nothing that makes an Indian except the fact that we are storytellers? There's nothing, not color, not language, not religion, not food, not even cricket. There are people who hate cricket, not Bollywood, because we also have other South Indian industries. There's nothing that makes us Indian except this idea of an impossible democracy. We are the best story. And the world has never seen anything like this. So when my dad asked me, "Raghava, who are you?" I'm forced to really to try and answer this in the most disembodied way, because I'm constantly reinventing who I am. Every time I discover who I am, I want to be the next version of me, a better version, a different version. And I use information technology as the tools. You know, there's the biggest mistake we have been taught in school is that we are the Homo sapien, the ape that builds tools. We don't build tools. The tools build us. We make the pen makes geometry, math makes architecture, and then before you know, you're locked up in a room that you have created by inventing the pen. So did we create the pen, or did the pen create us? Did we domesticate plants, or did plants domesticate us? The question is, we don't build tools, we create tools so that we can rebuild ourselves. And this is critical to understanding what information technology is. The question is, which Raghava? There's not one Raghava. There are many Raghavas. And I want to take you through these different Raghavas and ask you, which one do I talk to you about? Do I talk to you about the Raghava who's the dad of 4 children? Yes, I have 4 children, and I produced all 4 of them. And I was a very good husband for their mother. Or do I talk about the Raghava whose heart is broken when the love of my life for 20 years left me? Which Raghava do I talk about? Do I talk about the philosopher Raghava who is dreaming up the future? Or do I talk about the Raghava who's a joker, who loves to make people laugh and even laugh at myself? Do I talk about the artist who's actually secretly a nerd who loves technology and loves reinventing painting through technology and making robots? Or do I talk about painting with the top technologists and teaching them how to come back to normal hand, physical? These are called my digits, the real original digits, right? And learning to paint with your hands and feet. I work with the top CEOs in the world, the top minds in the world, and teach them how to come back to painting, how to let go, how to be a child and be silly and not take yourself too seriously. Do I talk about how I can never make a single painting without music around? And I don't have a single musical tone in me, and yet I'm trying to learn how to play the piano. And every art show of mine brings musicians together. Or do I talk about the Bengaluru Huduga, who Mannina Maga from Bangalore, or the New York boy who spent 20 years in New York as a New York futurist? Which Raghava is true? Both are true. Do I talk about the rock star who is shameless and goes and inspires the world and speaks to millions, and I'm on Netflix and I have my own cool show and I'm speaking to governments around the world? Or do I talk about the boy who's scared, running away from all, don't want to see a single person sometimes? I want to run away, and I go off to my little town in Woodstock, sit by my lake, and just hide from the world. Which Raghava? Which one is true? You know, one thing I've learned is every time I've hit a wall, every time I've felt depressed, every time the world has broken me or my spirit, I come back to Bangalore, first thing I do, because Amma can always give you good rasam rice and curd rice, and that fixes everything. But my brother and I came up with a philosophy, and I want to share with you what my philosophy of change is. If something disrupts you, if something breaks your rhythm, what happens to us? It turns out we have 3 simultaneous emotions. The first emotion is loss. When I went through divorce, a part of me died. Literally died. I can never love like that again. Okay? The second is liberation. Oh my God, I'm not married. Look at all my friends. They're stuck. I am single, ready to mingle. But there's a third and a different emotion, which is mystery. So what are you going to do, Raghava, about this? A part of you is dead. A part of you feels like, woo, I'm alive. And another part of you feels scared because you have no clue who you're going to become. And that is called change, when you experience all 3. You have to learn not to be too scared of loss. You have to learn not to be even more scared of liberation. And the biggest fear is mystery. How do we not act from fear and embrace all these 3? That is the toughest thing for anyone to do. Look at how AI is disrupting our world. We are experiencing loss of labor, loss of identity, loss of our jobs, but we're also liberated. Now you have more time not to do that shitty work. So what are you going to do about it? And you have no clue who you're going to become when you become the cyborg. So remember I said, the soft power of storytelling is to take the fragmented self, the broken self, and put it together in a beautiful formation. This is how I do it in my art. My tool, my technology is my paintbrush. And I put symbols that represent all the things I'm feeling at any given time. My fears, my insecurities, my failures, my successes, my happinesses, and my joys. And I learned this beautiful tradition from the Dutch. Do you know they collect flowers from different seasons? Those flowers can never botanically coexist because they're from different seasons. And then they create an impossible bouquet at the end. It's a human-made, imaginary, non-botanical creation. And I thought that was beautiful. That's what life is. This is to celebrate Women's Day. I lost my mother 2 years ago. She was the force of my life. I'm here to celebrate all women, including the one that broke my heart and liberated me and pushed me into mystery. This is a celebration of everything a woman means to me: the loss, the liberation, and the mystery. We only act strong. We're very fragile inside. And I retell history through cartoons and memes. I wonder to myself, what if the different Raghavas, the dad Raghava, could advise the inner child who was broken? What if Gandhiji could hang out with Daffy Duck? What would their conversation be like? Because all of this is in my head. Supandi is in my head. Rabindranath Tagore is in my head. So is Govinda and Rajinikanth. What if all of them became friends? What if they all hung out in this beautiful, confusing mess called India, called the impossible bouquet? I think that is our soft power, to take elements and make it into a whole. I take chaos and turn it into something beautiful because my life is not predictable. I don't want to control everything. How boring life becomes. I want to surprise myself. I want to be mystical. I don't want to know who I'm going to become. I want to keep dreaming of who I want to become. So if you feel fragmented in your life, that you have a different life at home, a different life at work, a different life with your friends, a different life on the internet, try and bring them together in a beautiful, impossible bouquet. And I do this with people around the world. And I want to leave you with one thought. My father asked me this: tonight when you go home, quietly sit by yourself and ask yourself one simple question. Who are you? And what kind of an impossible bouquet are you going to create for tomorrow? Thank you so much.